like a leprechaun to me. All I gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun say yeah?
The list goes on and on. There's 9 to 5 ain't working. Why the hell do I work so hard? I can't worry about my problems. I can't take them when I'm gone. Up 1, here comes the 2, to the 3, to the 4. Tell them bring another round. We need plenty more. 2 stepping on the table. She don't need a dance floor. Oh my good Lord. Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jack Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. I've been boozy since I left. I ain't changing for a check. Tell my mind forget. Oh Lord. Woke up drunk at 10 a.m. We gonna do this shit again. Tell your girl to bring a friend. Oh Lord. 1, here comes the 2, to the 3, to the 4. When it's last call and they kick us out the door. It's getting kinda late, but the ladies want some more. Oh my good Lord. Someone pour me up a double shot of whiskey. They know me and Jack Daniels got a history. There's a party downtown near 5th Street. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. That's fucking messed up, bro. They kicked me out the bar. Please.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day, it's a new life for me.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Give power to the collective in the data. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control. Late night in Moscow, where nothing ever happens. Not a friends in the moonlight, no escape. White night on day lurking, knife in the door.
Paranoid searches for a full vision ride. Under surveillance, nowhere to hide. Influence creeps like blood on the floor. Fine line between peace and war. From campus to crypt, the script flips tragic. Mystic and twisted, magic turn manic. Walk through lingers, but the echo remain. Chains of the slain in eternal pain.
And here we go.
Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I hope everybody's having a fantastic St. Patrick's Day. And before we get into tonight's live stream, I need to address the obvious. If you're wondering why I look like a leprechaun that just got promoted to middle management, it's because my wife decided to go shopping for me. She said, honey, it's St. Patty's Day. You have to wear a leprechaun outfit. Those are her words, not mine. And so I was about to start the stream and I go, oh, babe, where is the leprechaun outfit? And she hands me this beard right here. This was the move. The winning strategy for St. Patty's Day. And it's itchy as hell. So I'm going to take this off and then we're going to get into it. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, man. What if I would have taken that off and then just had another one right back on? Oh, man. St. Patty's Day is always fun. I hope everybody had a great weekend. Their week has been starting off strong. And tonight, we're going to be talking about the top 5 predictions. But before we do, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about the stream. I'm your host, Birdie. I go live weeknights at 7 p.m. Central. This is a contrarian thinking live stream. We think past the headlines. We question narratives. We ask what if. We theorize. We hypothesize. We try to get to the bottom of things by having a conversation, a discussion. We get past the initial disagreements in the chat. And so as long as you're not trolling, spamming, or threatening, the best mods on YouTube, being formerly known as Beck, Discord, Dawn, UFO Dog, and Luda Bliss, will let you say whatever you want. And just know if you dish it out, people can dish it right back. It's a little carved out corner of the internet where I would say true freedom of speech for whatever this platform, being YouTube, would allow, you could say. And as you're filing in, please go ahead and hit that like button. Don't make me beg. Right now we got 136. Just make it a habit. When you come in, just tap it. Doesn't cost anything. Same thing with hitting subscribe. If you guys want to screenshot this so that after the live concludes, you can go into your Photos app and check out all of the Hive Mind's social links. It'll take you to my TikTok, our Discord, Spotify playlist for all of the intro songs, as well as HiveMindStore.com. And we got an awesome new hoodie. I think this thing's dope. We got a trucker hat that has the design has been redacted. A bunch of other great stuff on there. So make sure you guys go check that out. Now, I'm going to say what's up to everybody. And I'm so excited for this Discord question of the day. So, anyways, before we get to that, though, let me say what's up to everybody. What's up, L. Price? Mermaid, Redacted Beehole, Ava, Mo, Germilla, UFO Dog, Beverly, Growth Renewal. Hey, it's Ray. Tiffany Elena said she left her DNA. Thank you so much. Scout. Lives. Good to see you. Jennifer Folsom, thank you so much for the super chat. Said happy St. Pat's Day. Everybody at the bar getting tipsy. LOL. I love that. When I heard that remix song, fun fact, Mrs. Birdie and I, the bridal party walked into the original song, not the St. Patty's remix of that. So when I heard that, I'm like, oh, I have to use that for the stream. So I think it's catchy for being a remix for St. Patty's Day. But thank you so much again, Jennifer, for the big super chat. As a reminder, any super chat over $4.99 will pop up right here. What's up, Luna? Sweet PB, Nebula, Lisa Marie, Tripsy Turvy, Mary Tyler, Boomer, Megals, Davina, Beyond Reasonable Doubt says I'm on beer 3. Georgia Peachy, Hangman, formerly known as Beck, Jaded Gemini, Shantae, Nicole Cray Cray. What's going on, Dawn? Dame Shutterberg, Programmer, Sleeples in South Africa, Krager, Army Mom, Crop Duster 22. What's going on? Scottish Fiona. What's up? Jeep Overlanders. Georgia Peachy. I might have said that already. Kim being skeptical. Philly Girl. Michael. Jiffy. Steven. And Beautiful Disaster. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Now, going into the Discord question of the day, this comes from Mom Fluff. So the Discord question of the day is from Mom Fluff 1, And I screenshotted it because sometimes that's easier than having to type it all out, but I'll go ahead and put this full screen. Mom Fluff 1. I'd never heard this before. Curious to see get your guys' thoughts on it. And Mom Fluff asks, have you read While Idaho Slept, The Hunt for Answers in the Murders of 4 College Students? It was released in 2023. Here's why I find it invaluable to compare to the mainstream narrative. The writer is, as far as I can tell, mainstream narrative minded. However, because it was written right away, the flaws and inconsistencies are glaring. But what he says in the very beginning is priceless. He wrote Bethany got home at approximately 1 a.m. and Xana and Ethan were already home, which matches what Xana's dad said and what I tend to believe. Then he's talking about messages from Dylan's dad and how she had previously posted them to social media, stating anyone messes with his daughters, they mess with him, and that if she ever needed anything at all, to just call him. It also says Dylan locked herself in her own room for the remainder of the night. My theory so far is Dylan knows everything. She told her dad. They were worried about it coming back on her, even in the slightest, and that's where the cleanup and lying and stories come into play. At least that's part of a theory. Xana's dad is telling the truth, I believe, about when they were home. So in my mind, the question of where Xana and Ethan were is that they were at home. It's a great catch. And this is the book. This is what it looks like. You guys can get it on Amazon. I actually went and I found in chapter 3 the part that Mom Fluff is talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. It's just a couple pages. It's not too much, but it is interesting. All right. So I'm kind of starting mid-paragraph. Like I said, a few sentences into chapter 3, but here it is. She was blonde, like all the girls in the house except Xana, and her fit silhouette and photogenic features drew frequent compliments on her social media accounts. The youngest of the housemates, she not only fit in, but also fit the part. In the college sweatshirt she often wore, Bethany looked like an Idaho girl, comfy in the new climate she'd left home for. The Funk family had deep roots in Nevada, but here in Idaho, Bethany was free to explore a life built on her own terms, forming new roots in the Greek system and new friendships in the popular circles surrounding her roommates. After spending the evening of November 12th, off campus, Bethany had reportedly returned home at approximately 1 a.m. The small cluster of hardwood trees reflected in the sliding door behind the house had not yet dropped their leaves. They were dark and shadowy and hard to see through up the slope. Even on clear nights when the moon shone brightly overhead, the 50-foot grove of trees and underbrush rising between the King Road house and an upper-level accessory parking bluff made for limited visibility past the rim of the girls' backyard. The parking bluff itself, technically apportioned to the 49-unit brick-built Queen Apartments, could sometimes be used for overflow visitors to 1122, although that happened infrequently. In cold weather, it was common for vehicles to be left idling on the bluff while warming up, and in all seasons, it was regularly used by food delivery drivers and personal visitors to the 3-story Queen complex. By winter, after the leaves had dropped, tenants on King Road could see right through to the upper concrete pad, but for the remaining months of the year, the nighttime became an oil black veil between the two properties. Anything really could happen up there in the dark around the apartment complex or in the small grove of trees, even violence or the threat of it lurking, and nobody downhill would know. Not that many people in Moscow ever thought of such things. Unlike in Reno, violent crimes in the northern areas of Idaho were so infrequent as to appear non-existent. Even an unlocked fishbowl of a house in Moscow, its windows often with curtains undrawn, felt like one of the safest places on earth to come home to. I gotta stop and just clown horn that. That's such a narrative talking point that it's so weird how many times nothing like that happens in Moscow is repeated. Anyways, here's the part that Mom Fluff was talking about. Bethany had retired to her first floor bedroom shortly after returning to King Road on the 13th. Ethan and Xana were on the second floor. Bethany shut the door to her room and soon climbed into bed. Investigative reports indicate that she slept through Kaylee and Maddie coming home from the grub truck. And even with the window of her room facing the street, she slept through the headlights that would usually ascend past the house just after bar closing time around 2:15 a.m. when residents of the Queen Apartments complex returned home. Crucially, Bethany slept through another set of headlights, low against the ground, from a sedan that slowly entered the neighborhood, then climbed the hill past 1122 King Road. The face of its driver was concealed in the darkness of the sedan's interior, but the body of the vehicle, a white Hyundai Elantra, was caught on neighborhood security cameras. The driver of the vehicle made one pass by the residents at approximately 3:30 a.m., heading toward the Queen Apartments, where the vehicle circled and returned, creeping downhill past 1122 King Road, its low beams refracting off the pavement. Between 3:30 and 4, the vehicle made 3 passes by the King Road residents, and Bethany reportedly slept through them all. And through Xana's 4 a.m. DoorDash delivery from Jack in the Box, it's the only restaurant open that late. The DoorDash driver had arrived from 10 miles away in Pullman, Washington, just across the Idaho state line, a long drive to make for fast food delivery. But Pullman and Moscow often felt like the same town, both with universities, both with students who frequently indulged in their late night munchies. Bethany hadn't awakened when Kaylee and Maddie talked upstairs 90 minutes earlier, desperately calling Jack Decor on their cell phones, even if they'd recently broken up. Jack was Kaylee's love. She had been drinking, and nights could be long without Jack to hold on to. Kaylee had made 7 calls to Jack over an 18-minute period, but he'd answered none of them. Then Maddie had tried calling Jack 3 times without reaching him. All their calls went to Jack's voicemail. Bethany slept, and when the noises changed, they did not penetrate her slumber. The slash of a knife, the sound of a whimper, and a body hitting the floor. From a distance, it all might have been no louder than a door being slammed, a sound Bethany must have heard 100 times by now. The echo of it, just a stammer in her dreams. For God's sakes, I mean, look, 2 things that I wanted to point out. One, when I read the part about the DoorDash driver had arrived from 10 miles away in Pullman, Washington, just across the Idaho state line. I mean, it's so weird, like just Koberger, how far away he lives, still crossing state lines into Idaho. It's that to me, when I read that, kind of was like, oh, that's a little bit, again, coincidental. But this ending of a quadruple murderer just sounding like a single door slam. Why is that so hard for people to wrap their head around? That it's absolutely insane. It's terrible that so many people can believe that a quadruple stabbing is nothing more than a door slam. A door slam. Here, tell me if you guys can hear this. Okay, I don't know if you guys could hear that. Does that sound like 4 people fighting for their lives with over 150 stab wounds? That's what they are equating it to. And that's picked up through a mic. Yeah, I know it's, 10, 15 feet away or whatever, but still, I mean, I don't know. It's just very weird, and it's written in such a way that minimizes any surviving roommate's involvement. Same thing with how they talked about in the beginning. Again, nothing like this ever happens in Moscow. I am convinced that was something that the police had to push, or the university pushed, or the city pushed. I don't feel like that many people just say nothing like this ever happens in Moscow. I feel like people that are even from a safe town, and we know what's all happened at the University of Idaho and in that surrounding area over the handful of decades leading up to that, tons of sus AF cases and outcomes on crimes that just don't make any sense, or cover-ups or corruption. I feel like even if you lived in a city or a town that had no crime, how many people, do you think that many people would even say, like, nothing like that ever happens here? And they just so happen to be all the people that get interviewed? Or do you think that it's got to be pushed, in my opinion? Every Dateline episode, the people in the town will say that nothing happens here, when in fact, no, it does. Yep. So, anyways, thank you, Mom Fluff, for the Discord question of the day. Now, before I get into my top 5 predictions, I want to preface this. All right. And I saw a couple super chats go in, so I will read these quickly. Thoughts loading. Thank you so much. Said this sounds like this is just a story of why she's innocent and shouldn't be speculated about. Bodies hitting the floor doesn't sound like a door slamming. Just saying. Amen. It doesn't. If anything, at night when you're in bed and you're asleep and you hear ruckus going on and you have roommates and it sounds like super chaotic, I feel like you do tend to worry a little bit more, especially if you're a girl and you don't know what's going on. People are coming in and out all the time. For sure. I completely agree with that. KGB 206 says, just because it looks like you're wearing an old Sonics jersey. I am. This is a Stockton jersey. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't even remember where I got this or when I got it, but it was green. I figured for St. Patty's Day, I'd rock it. Mary Jane Oatman said, if you ever need some on the ground footage 2026, hit me up. Of Moscow? Yeah, that'd be great. If you're ever in that area, I would love to see whatever you got. Beyond Reasonable Doubt 3 said, I bet the audio from 11 to 1 a.m. sounds like a murder. Zan and Ethan, they had to have been home. They had to have been home so much earlier. There is so many reasons why they don't ever talk about where they are. A majority of those reasons have to be because it would F up the entire timeline. 50% of the victims are unaccounted for. It's insane. It's insane. Dylan says the body cam footage, she could hear everything and then later can't remember. Yeah. I don't even want to. I would be so curious. Can we just take Dylan out of this? Okay, let me say that quicker. Can we take Dylan out of the story, out of the narrative? Okay. Not take her out. You guys know what I meant. But just take what she said out of it. It doesn't help anything. It doesn't help anything. I don't think it does. Bushy eyebrows, didn't call for help, is on Indeed, social media. I can't even go down this rabbit hole again, guys. There's no credibility. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. Nada. So, all right. What I did is I did some top 5. I did my top 5 predictions. These are not necessarily things that are going to happen in a chronological order. It might not even just be a result of new evidence, etc. Like I kind of did random stuff. I let my brain completely flow through these. I actually came up with about 7 of them, but I put my top 5. These are all things that I've compiled that I'm thinking, even if just one of these happens, how different does this case look? Okay. And then what I'm going to do after I go through my top 5, I'm going to open up the phone lines here in the second half, and I want to hear your top prediction, your number 1 prediction. One's in the chat if that sounds like a plan. Actually, let's go Clovers in the chat. Can we do that quick enough? Can we throw some Clover emojis in there for St. Patty's Day? Does that sound good? And I went a little bit crazy on this. I kind of tapped back into my roots of thinking outside the box for these. Oh, yeah, there are the Clovers. Love it. Awesome. Well, I'm excited to hear your guys' predictions. So, the first one that I'm going to go with is that I believe that a whistleblower is going to claim that the feds deleted a crime scene face in order to hide an undercover asset. I don't know who the whistleblower is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be somebody in law enforcement or a 3-letter agency, or if it's somebody involved with one of the families or a friend. But I do believe that somebody's going to come forward. Whether it could be an internal memo that gets leaked, right? That says asset is visible in frame 17, remove or cover it. You could even go into chain of custody on certain SD cards. Okay. Why would that matter for Brian Kohberger? Well, the defense could, if Kohberger does appeal, there could be a move to dismiss, or again, assuming he does appeal, or if he appeals, just outrageous government misconduct, right? And so this has happened before. I've actually looked up examples of where this has happened, or if these are happened. And so in 2015, in Baltimore, at their police department, there was a, quote, gun trace task force photo scandal. Constitutional case law on outrageous government misconduct dismissed the trial. It was an inevitable media circus, as one would assume. And that angle of looking, or when that angle came out, it completely nuked the entire case that they had, Fruit of the Poisonous Tree, right? And so what they did is there was a federal undercover asset that was quietly airbrushed out of photos, which is insane. Okay. I feel like one of the reasons why this could hold some weight is all of the camera footage is grainy as hell. It jumps, it goes mute. It's super slow moving. I mean, we're talking about 2022 here on Ring cameras. I've seen Ring camera footage on social media for years. I've never seen Ring camera footage this bad. So was it purposefully uploaded to hide certain people? Potentially. So that's one, plausible. And I'm curious, try to remember these, and I'll go through them again at the end. I'm curious to see which one you guys think might be most likely. The second one that I could see happening is, if you've ever seen like confession tapes or the jail tapes, I could see another inmate bragging that he knows the murders were some sort of criminal organization initiation or a hit, whether it be the cartel, whether it be the AK. If it had to do with a criminal organization, I think that this is something that probably needs some time to come out, but I could see that playing a role in Kohberger's innocence coming to the forefront of headlines, right? It's going to have to be something massive, right? Where they're straight up saying, you know, I know who did that, blah, 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 blah. They check it out. The tape would get released. I don't necessarily even have a timeline for these, but I'm just saying that I think that something crazy like this is going to happen. This one, okay. I know that I'm kind of going through these quickly, but this one I feel like really, like it could really happen. And I've said for a long time that anytime that there's a tragedy where people's emotions are heightened and the American people can palate and overstep on their American rights, the government and the court system will never hesitate to make the most out of a crisis. And given all of the untested male DNA, given the lack of chain of custody that we have heard Ann Taylor with our own ears talk about how it's super secret after Othram gave up on trying it, and the FBI then gave Kohberger's DNA as a tip from a damn Q-tip 2,000 miles away that matched his father, that had his father. I'm going to go down that whole rant again about cross-country road trip, brings up Kopaka, world's most wanted car, yet he's such a genius. Give me a break. It's impossible for me to talk about that without getting worked up. But what I could see happening is that we will see the first DNA ghost defendant, where they will indict a YSTR string only, and it will be the first ever genetics John Doe co-defendant. It'll be state versus male, cluster 33, haplotype, or whatever, however you say it, T1A1. And I could totally see that. No name, no face, just 17 base pair locations. TATC, GATA, TAGA, that's the defendant. And given the trace DNA stuff that has come out with Koberger and how that's gotten him 4 life sentences and he is forced into a plea deal with it. What's interesting, though, is that there is a similar case. This happened in Maryland in 2001. Unknown male number 1 case. The science of surname inference via YSTR. It was a constitutional due process nightmare. But the DNA did stand trial. Why would they do this? This is kind of a guess, but I was reading, like, has there been anything like that? But that would allow them to add an accomplice at any point over like the next 50 years. Okay, so they can indict the DNA. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Love Another Habit said, that's Elon Musk's name for his next kid. That's hilarious. All right. This one, I feel like there's going to be a handful of people in here that will agree with this, but I know that I said the defense subpoenas, right? I'm assuming there's an appeal, but let's say that the defense subpoenas an ex-CIA shrink. Koberger was a guinea pig in a secret behavior study. There's so much funding that is so hard to track down, and you're never going to know how it's used. There's a reason why the 3-letter agencies redact entire pages damn near in this case. Okay. If somebody came forward and said, between September and December of 2022, they were running an off-books conditioning study, behavioral conditioning study. It could be on sleep-deprived grad students, measuring impulse control and predicting their criminal behavior under those situations, right? I don't think that that's insane. Don't forget that the CIA is also the same people that used to give people that went to brothels acid and then watch them through a 2-way mirror while they're tripping on acid. Okay. MK Ultra's real. Mind control is real. This is all declassified. This is not even a conspiracy anymore. But I could see something like that potentially coming out. Almost like an MK Ultra 2.0. And the last one that I have, probably the most realistic, but I think that in the WSU WSU lawsuit civil discovery, that could cough up one of the universities or law enforcement, like an admin thread that's essentially saying, make BK the fall guy. This one seems, like I said, the most reasonable, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun with those. I really feel it in my core that something nuts has to happen. I have 2 other ones that I'll just read to you quick. And I could see, like, in 10 years, 2036, we're going to see Idaho 4 reversal. Brian Koberger's exonerated. A cold case burglary has a K-bar that matches the exact same one that was missing, the murder weapon that was missing in the Idaho 4. I could totally see something like that. 10 years, you fast forward. I don't know. I really think that if it's going to come out and the truth will come clean, it's going to be a long, long time. And nothing's going to surprise me at this point. But those are what I came up with. And now, like I said, Hive, I wanted to kind of get through those. Which one do you think is the most realistic? Or I guess, which is your favorite? WSU lawsuit, coughing up some emails, admitting they were going to make BK the fall guy. The secret behavior study, convicting the YSTR profile of the unknown male DNA so that person could be essentially matched, for decades or forever until they catch them. An inmate confessing to it in jail, or a whistleblower saying that this was all meant to cover up an undercover asset. Secret behavior study, WSU, DNA, Oh, kind of some mixed things. DNA. Convicting the unknown, male DNA or whistleblower. WSU. DNA, whistleblower. Interesting. Whistleblower, secret behavior. Hacker gets the truth. Secret study or whistleblower. Secret study, cover up. WSU suit. Yeah, it could be multiple things too. I guess when I was going through these aren't even that crazy. I just think that one of them is going to happen. I think that one of these five, if I had to say out of these five, which one is the most likely, obviously I think the WSU just from being the most reasonable, but I don't think it's a stretch that one of these five could happen. Where's the Rolo? I just saw that. Rolo blows the case. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop the link in the chat. And let me just get this up so I can pin it. And we will do some phone calls. So I just dropped it. Let me make sure that I got. Oops. All you got to do is just click the link. I can't see you, but I can hear you, or nobody will see you, but people will be able to hear you once you're backstage. So let me go ahead and pin that. There we go. Should be pinned to the top now. And like I said, I want to hear, what is your prediction in this case? And all right, we got some people backstage starting to fill it up. I'm going to go ahead and Mary, how are you doing? I think you might be on mute.
I'm doing pretty good.
I got you loud and clear.
I'm here in Idaho, the University of Idaho, and have been following this case fairly close. Actually was retained by Chronicles of Olivia to kind of take her across the landscape here. So I have some involvement in just assisting folks from outside of our community and coming in and kind of seeing
Oh, wow.
how to navigate during a very tense time when the social media world was definitely being vilified. I had some, like, every hair on the back of my neck stand up as far as the theories of the case because of prior involvement with prosecutor Bill Thompson.
You did?
In other cases where there have just been some just concerns with law enforcement all the way around. So there's just always been that contrarian in regards to this case. But it was interesting because my sister was actually the first one. Like, she was really pushing me into being more, at least enlightened to what's going on. I work full-time job. I've got kids. I'm not really focused on it a whole lot. But it was about a week after the case after the incident happened in Moscow when my sister sent me over a video, and it was the original video of the law enforcement kind of doing their house calls for noise and for alcohol. And she said, "Dude, WTF, it looks like that officer is casing the joint. I think law enforcement was involved." And I was like, "Shut up, sister." And so her and I have kind of just had this banter about this case back and forth with different theories. And it was originally when the data announcement was released, as far as like the number of terabytes, when I started kind of drawing some parallels to flaws in the Lori Daybell case, because I know that there was a lot of failures with those three-letter agencies to get what they wanted in regards to sensitive, protected information for U.S. citizens. And so that's my theory on this: is it's a data play, geofencing data play to acquire the genetic data on all people in the United States, as well as some other outlying areas and territories. And I do believe that they're utilizing the hierarchy. I'm just going to say it: skull and bones of the fraternity and sorority world. It is no joke around here that, I mean, if the student athletes get away with a lot, then good God, what the fraternities and sororities get away with. And it's very generational. 5, 6 generations of these sororities and frats. So they're protected by old money. A lot of old money involved here, with a lot of corporate ties to, big areas outside of this valley, clear out into the Silicon Valley, big money, tech money.
Wow. That's so first of all, thank you so much for calling in. That's a great prediction. I've also said a handful of times the data and utilizing AI to gather the data with geofencing, with DNA, with all of what Otham's doing and Palantir. I totally agree with that. Can I go back to something you said in the beginning? Oh, you might be on mute.
And wouldn't you know it, Bertie, I can see your mouth moving, but I cannot hear a
Oh.
darn word you're saying.
No worries. You did great.
Thank you.
So thank you. I hope you have a great night. So I'm not sure why sometimes people can't hear me. I don't know if I think you have to have YouTube closed. Okay. But that was a great first call. That gets me excited for the rest of these. What I was going to say is it's interesting that she said that she had, some sort of a hand in helping with people who were originally covering that case. And she referenced Chronicles of Olivia. I was going to ask her about that. Maybe if anybody sees Mary in the chat, just make sure to, if you guys wouldn't mind asking her that. But Mary, great job. Thank you so much for the call. Next up, we got Beyond Reasonable Doubt. How are you doing?
Doing good. Hi, Birdie.
I
Hi,
got you loud and
Hive.
clear.
This time, I got it together
Yeah.
this time.
You're all good. What do you got for us?
So I believe that there's going to be a whistleblower from the WSU crime lab,
Okay.
because a lot of this has to do with the WSU using their predictive programming and fine tuning that. And they even admit that on their website. They talk about how they are using the body cam footage from both Idaho and Washington's police departments.
Yep.
So why else would they not be involved in the community or testing on the community?
Well, they absolutely would be. And I believe that if you go onto WSU, they have their archive of their newsletters that they've sent out.
Yes.
And it's in there and it outlines. It's like every other page they talk about WSU and working with the Pullman Police Department. It's insane.
Definitely. So I feel like somebody from the crime lab is going to eventually slip up or say something.
What do you think it's going to be?
I think it's going to be about the program. It's going to be like not like openly, but they'll be talking about the program and the success that they've got from it. And then in there, it will detail and list out like their success. It'll be like, oh, we accurately, predicted this and that in this neighborhood and that. And then they're going to say something about 1122.
And what do you think that'll do to free or I guess bring the public to see that this is some sort of study with as far as Koberger not doing it? Or are you saying Koberger's involved and he was set up, or what? How does that relate to him?
I think he might have been a little bit too nosy and too close to the testing. Like he wanted to, I guess, have like an uproar or be close to it when it was going to happen. I think he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, but it ended up being too convenient for him to be the fall guy. Like his car, him being around in the area, even though they can't give us like definitive evidence that he was right next to 1122. He could have been, 50 feet from there, but
I agree with that. And one of the things too that I think is helpful to continue to remind all of us, including myself, on is that think of how big of an F up it would have to be that you got so close to something that you shouldn't have. It doesn't matter in which dynamic, whether it's a study, whether it's drugs, whether it's whatever, right? Think of how much would be at risk that they're going to frame somebody that nobody knows. It seems almost like unthinkable in a way, and to have everything go the way that it did with the evidence, with the FBI, with all the three-letter agencies, that doesn't feel natural.
Oh, not at all. And they try to play it off as being a multi-state involvement investigation to add in FBI and CIA and whatever. But that's way too many hands into a murder investigation if there wasn't more parts of it
Yeah.
that needed to be concealed, especially if you think about the special attorney coming on at the end of the trial. That's when the deal was broke. As soon as he signed on, what was his name? Herbert, I think.
Josh Hurwitz. Yep.
Hurwitz, yeah. When as soon as he joined the investigation, that's when the plea deal just popped out of nowhere. And why would he get onto this case if it just him act? I think he just came back like 3 months before the trial.
Yeah, it's wild. Josh Hurwitz, his involvement, and then seeing what really played out after he joined the case and talking about how everybody wanted finality and they didn't want to continue to go through these plea deals. It's so many. It feels like corporate Kool-Aid. Like, have you ever been working for like a corporation and you go to like their hoorah meetings?
Oh yeah,
and that's what it felt like, but for the court system, for the legal system.
Get free hand sanitizers.
Yeah, exactly. But no, thank you so much for the call. Beyond Reasonable Doubt. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your St. Patty's Day.
I will. Bye, Hive.
Cheers. 2 great calls in a row. We have a handful of spots open backstage if anybody wants to. But next up, we got a Hive favorite. We have critic Rick 66. What's going on, Rick? How you doing? I'm showing you're on mute, FYI. Oh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Still muted? Oh, there
You're
we go.
good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay,
Perfect.
cool.
All right. So we're doing predictions, right?
Yep.
All right. So the prediction that I have hold on from last year was I did say that EK, as far as I'm predicting, is that something will happen soon within a couple of weeks or months, especially more with the WSU lawsuit. Now that really kicks into gear pretty much everything that we would want for the Idaho 4 case. I mean, we've been seeing little drips here and there from the documents, right? Most of the stuff that we wanted to know, some things are already confirmed, right? That we see them, read them, whatnot. Now we know as a confirmation, right, on the documents. But it really, now if more stuff comes out that she didn't have, I mean, that basically adds more to this U lawsuit. Now that through now discovery that they're allowing discovery, right? I feel that not only will BK's appeal and any movement will come from within, but I think it's going to be through WSU. That's just my prediction. That it's going to have to come through there.
Yeah. So are you just to
the other thing
clarify,
is, as I've said before, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for whatever reason too, whatever you call it, there's a little bit of a delay. So I'm not trying to talk over you, but yeah. So you're saying that you believe that anything with Brian Koberger that would potentially set him up to be freed or exonerated is going to come from WSU. Yeah.
Yeah, like to get the ball rolling. Yeah, it's gonna go through WSU.
And okay,
Go ahead.
what were you going to say after that, or right before I had said that? What were you going to say?
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, yeah. I was just saying that. Yeah, if there's any movement, it's gonna come through WSU, not through just BK alone.
I agree with that. And I appreciate the call, Critic Rick. Always good to hear from you. Great insight, and I hope you have a fantastic St. Patty's Day. UFO Dog said she bets you're not wearing green. I bet you are. Are you? All right, take care. That delay on Critic Rick is, I can't tell if he's ever on mute or not. I'm not sure why that always happens with him, but appreciate the patience on that. Next up, we got Nebula, which, by the way, before I bring up Nebula, though, I did just see a wild Pool Boy Connor had a pretty good prediction saying that the K-bar and the knife sheath belonged to Maddie. It was under her pillow. As being a female, she kept it for protection. And maybe that's why it looked so new. Maybe it was never really used and it was just a protection knife that you never really plan on using. It just sits in your drawer, right? Nebula, how are you doing?
Oh, I feel like I'm having issues again.
Oh, no.
I thought I had this figured out last time.
Can you hear me?
I'm going to jump out of here and I'll get back on if I can figure it out. I don't know why.
Okay.
Sorry.
All righty. Well, got to have patience sometimes for technical difficulties. Here's what I'm going to say. If you want to call in, two things you got to do. One, swipe out of YouTube. That's the first thing. Okay. Swipe out of YouTube. That's the first thing. Secondly, if you're listening on the TV, mute it. All right. Next up, we have Shannon. Shannon, how are you doing?
Hello?
Shannon, I got you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I'm doing good. Yes, I can hear you. Hi, Birdie. Hi. Predictions.
What do you got for us?
Well, first off, I don't know why nobody's talking about Nicholas Mowich. I feel like he had a lot involved in this case. But my prediction is that with the lawsuit, there's going to be a lot more coming out. I'm hoping anyway, because if it doesn't, we're just chasing our own tail around and around.
I agree with that.
But yeah, that's my prediction. With the lawsuit, there should be a lot more coming out, and I'm hoping that it gets to the point where BK Brian will just talk. Let us know. I mean, he already said he was waiting for, to be exonerated. So why not speak for himself?
That's one of the most confusing things about this damn case. Honestly, it's why is Brian not talking? Why are people talking cryptically or just pissed off at the outcome, being some of the families? Right. I do wonder, here's another prediction, just a thought. Is there a chance another family, right? Do the Mogans step up? Does Xana's mom step up? Do the Chapins say anything? Out of all of them, I actually feel like the Chapins are probably the least likely to say something. I have just a gut feeling on that, given their Othram. I don't know if it's a partnership, but obviously Stacey Chapin's talking at CrimeCon, but you got the G family always in the media. The other two families, right, being the Kernodals and the Mogans, they're not saying anything. I mean, that could be something that we see. I mean, I'm curious, why are they not talking?
Right. Another thing I'd like to know is, if the gag order is no longer in place, why is everything redacted? You know, I was watching the body cams today, and there was so much redaction that. But when the officer spoke to his wife on the phone, a personal conversation with his wife, none of that was redacted.
Yeah,
And I'm just like,
that's a good point. And that's what makes me feel, and I don't know if anybody see, it's so hard because I don't know how many people would want to come out and say, "Oh yeah, I used to be a confidential informant," or "I was a CI," or I worked with CIs." I don't know if there's legal BS that you could get yourself into. Obviously, I'm not asking for anybody to go and put themselves at risk, but I am curious, how much are you protected? Right? Is there a certain type of thing that you're undercover for, that you informed for, that you have protection for life, for 5 years, for 10 years? How big of an informant do you have to be to get to national security?
right.
So, but your prediction is that WSU lawsuit will bring truth.
I'm hoping yes.
Well, I think a lot of people tend to agree with you, and I hope that you are right. I appreciate the call, Shannon.
Thank you, Bertie.
You have a phenomenal day. Cheers.
You also. Bye.
Bye-bye. All righty. Next up, we got Edie. Edie, how are you doing? Redman, you got me? Be alert. All right, if you can hear this, Redman, I'm gonna bump you. Just pop back up when you see it. All right. We got Kay backstage. Kay, how are you doing? Or Kaya? Kaya?
It's Kay.
Kay, how are you doing? We got you loud and clear.
I'm good, Bertie. How are you? Hi, Hive.
I'm doing great.
You know, sadly, I think it's going to take years for the truth to actually come out. With all the documents, they've been obviously redacting pretty much everything, and it's a slow roll. I mean, yeah, the lawsuit is going to help bring out more, but they also have the discretion of releasing what they want to release. And sadly, I just think it's going to be another one of those things like Diddy, Epstein, going to take years to get the truth. I have a friend who has an autistic son. He's functioning. I mean, he's really smart, but he would react the same way. He wouldn't talk. He would shut down. He would be freaked out. So yeah, I think sadly we all know something is off, but I don't think we're going to get the results that we want as soon as we want.
I don't necessarily disagree, right? And it's obviously great to have hope. While you were just saying that, I looked up, according to the National Registry of Exonerations, the average time between conviction and exoneration is about 10 to 15 years in the United States. Many cases take longer than a decade because of appeals, evidence reviews, legal processes obviously move slowly, but then it breaks down the case type, and DNA evidence cases average 14 to 16 years. And death penalty cases, which I don't know if you would consider this still a death penalty case because he pled, but that's usually 15 to 20 plus years, which is just horseshit. If you're wrongfully convicted, you're still getting punished for a massive crime. You're doing time for a huge crime, and you could be completely innocent. That's insane.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. I also think that if anything was to come out sooner, I think it would be from loose lips. You know, somebody's gonna talk, word's gonna get around. That may help it, but I also think that's gonna take a long time. They got to let the hype die down, and people aren't letting it die down. Not like they want it to.
Well, and that's what's so interesting is that there are ways for like instant exonerations. And if you have conclusive DNA evidence that excludes the convicted person, all they have to do is retest this, and they could shut everybody up. The internet will go away, which to an extent, because then I feel like if Brian does get out, then it's like, well, is the job really done? Is it?
Yeah,
Because now it's going to be like, who the hell did this? Like, and who let it happen?
exactly. And my big thing has always been too with the Gonsalves family of saying that there's footage of the girls coming home. Where?
Yep.
Where is that? Show everybody, because then I feel like there's more. They haven't released it because there's more, and that's how I feel. I mean, I won't change my mind until we see that.
There's so many people that feel that same way, and that's what I don't understand. Like, okay, if you are so sick and tired of people on the internet, which is just ridiculous that I'm even having to defend this. Like, we're on the same team in a way. We want the truth.
Yeah.
Like, why are we being turned into enemies? It's like we're being gaslit into thinking that we're like against these families. We're not against these families. Like, we want the truth.
Yeah.
They're not happy with it.
Yeah.
We don't believe it. Why are we not on the same side? It doesn't make sense.
I completely agree with you, Birdie. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is. It is ridiculous. And so you're essentially saying your prediction is that it's gonna actually probably line up pretty good with what the registry says is that DNA cases will take about 14 to 16 years. We're gonna be seeing this on Netflix in 2040.
Yep, watching the fucking documentary and coming back to the Hive and saying, "Did you see this shit?"
Right? No kidding. And by that time, is Netflix still going to be around? Isn't it
Oh,
interesting?
geez.
Like think about like back when like Kmart existed. You're like, that's never going to go away. You never see a Kmart or like Toys R Us. Those are gone. Radio Shack.
Yeah.
But
I know, and it sucks because if he is, eventually exonerated, you just think about all the things that he missed out on. Is really sad. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, he's in the prime years of his life to start a family, to have kids, to get married, he was about to have his master's.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
Nightmare. It's a nightmare.
It is.
Well, I appreciate the call, Kay. I hope you have a great night.
You as well. Bye, guys.
Cheers. Bye. Great call. Awesome call. And we have a handful of people backstage, so we can keep that link up for a little bit. So again, if you guys want to call in, just tap the link. Make sure YouTube swiped out. But next up, we have Mildly Playing Character. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. We got you loud and clear, and I'm assuming you can hear me all right.
Yeah, I just got really nervous though.
Oh, don't be nervous. You're in the Hive. You're good. We got
Okay. I've never called in before, but I wanted to make a prediction. Well, I guess I should say I more so hope that Stacy Chapin somehow slips on these talks that she's doing. I feel like their family, like you said, will definitely be the last ones to purposefully do anything for us, give us any information. But I do find it very strange how Ethan had texted his sister, "I love you," that night after she had been really upset about something. I don't know if she knew something was going to go down or what, but I also have something else to say about that I totally forgot.
well, while you're thinking of that, not to hopefully not to ruin that train of thought. So, what about Brian Koberger's parents? Where are they at? Right? Like his sister spoke up. She got the gauntlet thrown at her. New York Times just destroying her. I mean, it's her little brother, or is it her little brother or older brother? Whatever. It's her brother. At the end of the day, it's like, what are you? She just said it's sad for everybody.
Yeah, and she was very like from the heart. She cared about the victims' families too. I just don't know why she got eaten up. I did remember what I was going to say.
Go for it.
What is the sister's name again of the triplets?
A man. Oh, for Kobergers or
no, for Ethan. Sorry, I forgot. It's Hunter, Ethan,
and Maisie.
Maisie. Okay, she ended up winning some sort of award the following semester, which I found to be very strange, and I wondered if it had anything to do with what went down. But I can't keep straight which sorority she's in comparison to the girls that have gone. I need to figure that out. And then additionally, the way that the family has handled everything, I feel like the father is just so passive. And I feel like the way they said they keep him in the basement and they're twins now, just everything about that. They went back to school the following semester. They weren't scared at all. I find it all strange.
Going back to school is gotta, I don't know. It's one of those things where people are going to say everybody grieves differently. And I don't disagree with that, but there's like a pattern where it's like everybody involved in this seems to be grieving rather similarly. And it's very vague and it's not coming off like how most people would expect. And I'll leave it at that.
Right. And she also, speaking of Stacy, she also comments how she doesn't want to know anything else. Like she could not care less about what actually really happened. So maybe she does know.
I've always said that, like, yeah, she's like, it's not going to change anything. That's true. But it almost feels like she's like, she knows what really happens and she doesn't want to go and put on the facade if she knows what really happened. So
Thank
I don't
you.
know.
I hope I made sense.
No, you made great sense. And for your first call, you did awesome. Thank you so much,
Thank
Mildly Playing
you.
Character. Cheers. All righty. Great call in. And we have next up Kim being skeptical. How are you doing, Kim?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
I can, yes. So I have, I think the WSU angle is probably what's going to be the ticket to more information. But I do have one sort of, I don't know if it's crazy theory, but it's a theory. So maybe
let's get nuts. Let's get nuts.
A little nuts. So
Yep.
maybe it takes marriage splitting up. What if Eric Gower and his wife split up and she decides to talk about what Eric Gower was up to, and maybe she leaves the police. I don't know, something there happens, or maybe he talks. What if Rosie and his wife split up and she comes out and says that Kaylee was having an affair with her husband? And then, is it Rosie that was?
Well, there's like
that the rumor?
People have said that, and then there's also like the football coach angle as well,
right? Yeah,
being the nanny.
I do think that there could be a few. If a marriage were to topple, there could be things that come out that nobody ever intended to come out.
That's a good angle. Like that's Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say maybe that gets things rolling in an interesting direction. Maybe that's where someone starts to talk.
Yeah, and I know people are saying they did split up, referring to Gower.
Oh, have they?
And his wife.
Okay.
Well, yeah, Gower and his wife.
Okay, I didn't know.
But yeah, but it's a good angle either way. It doesn't just have to apply to Eric and his wife. It can apply to anybody, right?
Even the families of the victims, something in there could happen. There's all kinds of. I mean, if the Gonzalez is over to split up, somebody goes rogue, starts talking. I don't know. Just something to consider. Anyway, that's all I got.
Well, I think that was a great call, and that's a great angle. Thank you so much, Kim, being skeptical. Have a great night.
You too.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I love doing these call-ins. It's always awesome to hear from you guys. And, oh, man. Over, under, actually, what are the odds that Ass Man on St. Patty's Day has a Busch Latte locked and loaded here? What's going on, Ass Man?
You know, I don't know why you would ever think that, man. That's a little insulting.
I was waiting for it.
St. Patty's Day, dude. I'm from Irish fucking descent. Hell yeah.
I love that. Man. So what's your prediction? What do you think is going to come out of this?
What I know, I'd like to know to come out of it is that, and I know it's wishful thinking, but this is all a psyop. And we find out eventually that all 4 victims are still alive, and they were put in WITSEC.
I am shocked that it took this long. I haven't seen that in the comments yet, and I'm shocked that it took this long for somebody to say that, because I know that triggers people when you say national security, 3-letter agencies, marshals, potentially 5 victims, right? Is there a WITSEC angle, especially given some of these very dangerous criminal organizations? People get triggered because it's like, how dare you? That's so rude to say that somebody's alive when they're dead. Okay, WITSEC exists for that reason, and it's actually the best outcome because they're alive. They're not dead. And there are ways for people in WITSEC to communicate with their family. You can go watch videos on it. Okay, it's not like they're completely cut off forever. Okay, there are ways that it can still be managed, especially if your life's in danger.
Well, right. And I mean, no one wants to insult the families or those who are mourning the loss still to this day. But like, okay, if we're not allowed to even speculate WITSEC or speculate anything, then why aren't they just telling us what the hell's going on? I've said this from day one. Why? It's because there's something else deeper going on. Everything else that has gone on in this country and around the world that doesn't make sense is because there's something else going on behind the scenes. It's like the fucking Wizard of Oz. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. No, screw that. Show yourself. I mean, we're not crazy as citizens of this country and those around the world for wanting to just know the truth of what happened, especially when nothing makes sense. None of it at all. I mean, hell, there's a reason why 3 years after the fact, we all still meet every night in the Hive to discuss this.
Yep.
So there's definitely something going on that people aren't talking. Like I've said before, people don't meet up and talk about what happened with John Benet Ramsey. There was no national security involved with John Benet Ramsey, and that's still unsolved.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, even with who were the two brothers out in California that killed their parents? The names on
the Menendez brothers.
Yeah. Look at how after, what was that, over 20 years, then they come out with a documentary and it starts showing, they start talking. I don't want to wait 20 years to know what happened to these kids. These were freaking kids. These were kids. This is something that almost everybody goes through at a point in their life where they go to college, they join fraternities, they join sororities. Are we supposed to, at this point, not let our kids go and do these things because of this case? I mean, all it's doing is doing more harm to Greek life than it would be for Greek life to keep hiding it. If we're coming from that angle.
You know what's interesting too about that whole WITSEC angle? As you're saying that, remember how I just said, why aren't other family members speaking up? Right? Yeah. Only the G family is, and then you see the Chapins. You really haven't seen the Mogans. You haven't seen the Kernodles. And it's like, okay, if the government's going to drop outstanding charges or reduce a sentence, which we know did happen for Maddie and Xana's parents.
Right. Then that's in the contract that they can't say anything.
Right. So then they're the witnesses. They testify. The marshals give them a new name or social security number, relocate, a stipend. You get a 24/7, lifeguard is what they call it for your first year or 2 years. And right. And it's like, what's the quote that they say? Like, no protected witness who follows the rules ever ends up dead.
I agree. I mean, even I don't know how many people in the Hive have ever watched The Sopranos, but even in like the first season of The Sopranos, Tony Soprano, the mob boss, the FBI agent comes in and goes, "Listen, Tony, you almost got assassinated. Why don't you leave now? We'll keep you and your family protected."
And there's, what's interesting too is there is, so Chief Gerald Sir, who used to run the marshals, he would call he would label this as a category 4 cover. Okay. You get death paperwork, a coroner certificate, and even a closed casket funeral. Everything short of an obituary in the New York Times.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's what they'll do. If you're a high value target after the trial remains, right? That's what he used to call it, as a Category 4 cover.
Oh, and it can be done. It 100% can be. And the thing is, like, I know I'm kind of sidetracking, but not only with that episode of The Sopranos, there was a show out years ago. It was called My Name is Earl. And in the later season, the guy who played Darnell, they find out he was in the witness protection program. They had no idea. Well, then when his cover was blown, they put him back in witness protection program. I mean, this is a stupid comparison, but it almost feels like even in the media, they just shove it in our face that, like, yes, this does happen. But then when there's a real life situation, like with the Idaho 4, if we dare question it, no, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, you can't ask questions. Okay, why? Don't we have a right to ask questions?
Absolutely.
I mean, someone accidentally keys your car. Well, why'd you do that? No, you can't ask me why. Why the fuck not? You keyed my car.
It's just so crazy, dude. Like, if you go look up everything that would be needed for WITSEC, if it's going to go that crazy, right? There's the risk matrix. Did you guys know that you have to have a psych eval too before you go into it? And I just find it very interesting that Brian Koberger has this like eval done.
Yeah,
it's just.
I still think that not only from the WITSEC angle of just the 4 victims, I think he could be in on it too. We've only seen that one video of him leaked from prison. And again, I'm not saying that that's fact or fiction, whatever, but why can we not ask questions?
Well,
and why does the GFAM come out and they get mad that we're asking questions? Like, we want to know what happened because this isn't normal.
It's not normal at all. And one of the other things that I was just going to say too, dude, is, and then I'm going to let the other callers up, but I was just going to say too, man, is if you think about how easy it would be in a small town to relocate people, right? I think it'd be easy. I think it'd be easy to do. If you're in like Moscow, Idaho, how many people knew about Idaho? Like Moscow, Idaho before this case? Way more people. Like, it truly was put on the map. It's just, to me, I don't think it's that far of a stretch.
No, it isn't.
Agree with it. Some people don't. I don't know if that's what happened, but I think with Brian Koberger, they're completely planting the narrative that he's going to be killed in prison. And I don't think that that's a stretch either, that if he was the public facing patsy, that he's going to be on the beach.
He's going to end up Epstein. I mean, it's the thing that I think that got messed up, that everyone involved in this cover up weren't expecting, was the amount of media coverage and the amount of not only coverage through our country, but national coverage. Like, the whole world knows about this case. I think they also didn't think that we would be still talking about it almost 4 years later now at this point. I
agree, man. And we got so many people in here from outside the US that tune in all of the time too. And so you're totally right. I mean, it's a worldwide case. And as always, man, I appreciate the call. Enjoy the Bush Latte and enjoy the rest of your St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, you too, brother. Hey, see you, Hive.
Yep, see you. Guys, we're not taking a break, but let's take a second here. Swipe that on the chat. Tap the like button. Please. Please, please, please. And we got some people backstage. Oh, man, we got Edie and we got Detective Mowry backstage. So we got some good calls coming up. But I wanted to try to find this video from back in the day, and I just found it. So I'm going to play this. Listen to what Devil's Advocate tells us a story with Greg Scarba.
Why in hell is anything related to Brian Koberger's case a matter of national security? Our government had an FBI, an asset from the FBI who was working for the mob as a hitman, and they allowed him to continue to do murders and even helped frame a guy who didn't commit a murder so that the guy that they had on the inside of the mob could stay inside and they can keep building their case against the mob. Put this towards the Koberger case. If there's any truth to the rumors that this had to do with drugs, then some confidential informant may be working with law enforcement agencies to bring down some kind of big, industry. And if they do, they have shown in the past they will lie, help fabricate information to keep their confidential informant from being exposed, because that's going to be important. So now the question is, when you start getting into issues of national security and you get into all this unprecedented gag order, it suggests that there is somebody involved with this crime, either an assailant or one of the survivors who's an inside government informant, who has been a confidential informant and is being protected. They're willing to let somebody else go down for it in order to keep the bigger target on their radar and not blow the lid on something bigger. Why?
I think that's just well said. And he referenced, like I said, Greg Scarpa. It's a very infamous case. That guy committed a murder and the FBI framed somebody else so that their informant could stay inside the mob. It's crazy. So it's not that far out of the picture. And man, we got a stack backstage. We got Detective Mowry. I see my guy Rolo backstage. So that's going to be awesome. But next up, we have Edie. Hopefully the technical difficulties are fixed. How are you doing, Redman?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Um, gosh, I have so much to say always, and it's always like all over the place. So I apologize for that. But I think it was that Mark B that was talking about the tires on those vehicles that weren't like they weren't marked vehicles. That truck that was going in and out early in the morning by 1122. There were several of them.
I haven't seen Mark B's video on it, but I do know. Are you talking about, did they take the photographs of the tire tracks, like from the evidence photos? Is that what you're referring to?
No. That he did like a close up of all the tires on these vehicles because he had noticed that they looked like the same tires that were issued by all the cop cars. So I guess what he was trying to say is some of those vehicles that were coming in and out early that morning were cops, but they were not in marked vehicles, and you couldn't tell they were cops unless you knew to look at those tires. Check it out sometime. It's really interesting. He zooms in on those tires, and they're the exact same tires. No other tires are like that.
That I will have to check that out. And I think Mark B puts out great work, super detailed, and so I'm definitely going to be checking that out. And do you have a prediction?
I have a prediction, and I also have one more thing to point out. My prediction is that Bethany is going to be the one to blow the lid off this whole thing. She has been quiet. She has not said a word. She's not been in the spotlight. She didn't even go to the thing when they the victims statements and all that. She didn't even go to that, did she?
No, she's been very silent. She actually, I believe, was it her cousin? Somebody spoke on her behalf.
Yeah, I think that, and you can hear. I don't remember who did this, but they did like a deep dive into some of the. It might have even been Outcast did like a deep dive into the 911 call, and you could hear Bethany at one point say, I just got to get out of here, or I can't do this, or something like that. I think that she was involved, but she didn't want to be involved, and I think that that's why she's been so quiet. And I think that and she also is the one that has that the defense say has the evidence that could clear Koberger.
Right.
But yet why the hell is she not? I mean, why is that being? Why does that have to have a lid on it?
Well, that's $1 million question. And there's like $10 million questions is why is that so secretive? Is it because it's not relevant and they don't want it to open up a can of worms that could lead to what is relevant? That's what I do wonder why like so much simple information could be redacted is because they don't want it to lead to what's really important that they're trying to cover up.
And also, did you ever look at the thing that I asked Gemini all those questions that you had asked that night
Yeah.
about? What did you think about that? Did you, because I thought it was so interesting and about it told so much to me about them not letting EMS. That was completely not protocol. It was completely wrong. Everything they did was backwards. And after
Right.
I read that, it blew my mind.
Well, it is mind blowing. And yeah, that's, there's what's interesting about that too is there's a handful of things that I think everybody's going to realize like after Thursday, right? When I have Jeffrey, who is the death investigation and crime scene expert on, I think you guys are going to be blown away by him. It's led me to start making a list. And if you guys can put some in the chat now, but body language expert, right? EMS people, even if it's a round table of EMS, it's gotten to the point where we can all dive into so much, right? We're obviously going to continue to do streams where we're deep diving stuff. But I think having people on the stream as a guest that are in these professions, it does give it credibility. And it also, we're going to learn a lot.
Because I mean, like it also said that that police officers, it's not protocol at all. In fact, it's not allowed, unless certain circumstances, which I don't think any of those circumstances were those circumstances to like pronounce death or anything like that. I can't remember the other There were three questions, and I just found them all fascinating because everything they did was ass backwards, and nobody talks about it and nobody brings it up. It's like everybody just accepts that.
Right. Well, it is ass backwards. And I think that I'm going to go back to and try to find some of those questions that now that you bring that up with the Gemini thing, because there are those, I remember reading those three questions too, as far as like, what would the protocol look like? And even just like the temperature of the liver, not that they would be doing anything more than that, right? But the coroner with the stomach contents, all of that stuff in the autopsy, as well as just, there was no urgency. I know people say they were obviously deceased. I remember
But they said, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
They said it said in there like it had, it was very detailed and it had it all like detailed out like in a shoot, what's the word I'm trying to find? Anyway, like it was in what am I trying to say? The form where like shoot, never mind. Anyway, they had it detailed out and like one, two, three. You know what I'm saying? What am I trying to say there? Like A, B, C. Um, and they said that EMS could not be turned away. The only way that they could be turned away was if they were in danger, okay, or if it was so evident, like there was a decapitation and there was absolutely like no, you can't like check their, body temperature or their pulse or anything like that because their head's missing, something like that. Like it had to be something that extreme. And from what we've been told, it was not anything that extreme. But all three of those questions that I asked that I sent you in that email were all very descriptive like that. And I mean, I really do wish that you would go look at it again because I think that that's very telling of of what happened, that morning.
I agree. And like I said, it's also just sparked having somebody who's been in EMS for a long time up on as a guest or a roundtable of them. And Edie, I appreciate the call as always.
Thank you, Bertie.
Yep. Cheers. Have a great night.
Hmm.
Bye-bye. I love when people get super excited and I try to go through all the emails, the mods, and I share it. So birdieshivemind@gmail.com. For some reason, it's okay. I get it. But birdiebombshell00@gmail.com. Don't send emails to that one. Please send it to birdieshivemind@gmail.com. And next up, we have Detective Mowry.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, man. I thought you were about to sing a St. Patty's Day song to us or something.
Practicing for your mom later on.
I knew that was coming, and you know what? It's actually been a while. I kind of missed the mom joke, so it's good to talk to you again. What do you got for us?
I actually drew you a picture, but you
oh, Jesus Christ. Email me it.
Can you? Let's see here.
Wait, you actually did? I don't know if I want to. Oh, Jesus. Is this going to get the stream shut down? I swear to God, if it's anything, if it's like you're a leprechaun and there's a pot of gold and my mom involved in it, the stream's over. I think he's emailing it right now. While Detective Bowery's doing that, I got Rolo backstage, and I'm gonna take the pinned comment down, and we'll finish with Rolo, and hopefully Detective Bowery comes back soon. What's up, Wicca Dubs, Blank Shady? Yeah, it wasn't on my bingo card either. And yeah, the delay is a little bit creepy. Philly Girl's like, I don't trust him. Oh, God. Critic Rick's going to send me Nancy Grace in a bikini. Please don't do that. Detective Bowery bounced. Okay. If he comes back, hopefully everything's all good with him. But we got Rolo. Long time no talk, my guy. How you doing?
What up? I'm right here. What's up?
Rolo, let me
put
you down
let me just
put you down for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Detective Mowry, you're back. Sorry about that, Rolo.
My bad.
I wanted to get. No, you're good.
No, I accidentally hit like to mute the mic and then it didn't turn back on. So,
what do you got for us?
I don't know. I kind of joined late. I got off work, a little training exercise, and I saw that you had a call-in show, so I went ahead and reserved my spot, not even knowing what the topic was.
Oh no, that's fine. That's fine. I feel like you actually have a pretty good answer to this. So one of the questions the question that I've been asking is, I kind of went through my top 5 predictions that could kind of unexpectedly blow the top off this case, right? A lot of people have agreed that WSU, if there's a discovery in that civil lawsuit, something could come forward. Some of the other ones that I said were, does it come out that there was a behavior study with the funding? I also referenced that maybe they're going to convict a genetics only like YSTR string as the co-defendant, and it'll be a John Doe co-defendant, but they can then match it to somebody for however long they need to. Right. So it'll still be a John Doe. So for example, you know how there's unknown male DNA.
Right.
Right. So if they just convict the DNA, if they say we don't know who it is,
you can't do that.
I'm saying, well, we've also.
But who do you put on the criminal complaint or the information that gets indicted?
It's their strand. It's the TACT, TAGD.
They're not. Hey. You can't do that. It's not. You can't file a complaint, a criminal complaint against a string of DNA.
Not yet, but maybe we see the first one ever, just like we see this trace DNA stuff happening.
I wouldn't count your chickens on that one, homie. But
But do you got a prediction? You got like kind of anything maybe off the cuff that you could see unexpectedly happening?
I mean, I can see a lot of potential discovery things that come out in civil litigation. I'm hoping that Brian just agrees to take a deposition, but they can't force him to, because I mean, what, you can't put him in. What's the punishment going to be? He's already in jail for 400 years. So
right,
I mean,
right.
You can't really compel his testimony at a deposition with you when you have no leverage. But if he wants to, I guess, get back, quote unquote, at the family or the media, he can drop some breadcrumbs about another potential suspect or co-conspirator, and that would have everybody up in a fucking tizzy again. So
you know what's interesting though about what you just said about Kohberger? What leverage does he have? He's already there. Would you agree or disagree that he hasn't said anything? Is that leverage?
No, I'm saying that the person that would be subpoenaing or requesting his deposition, like usually if you don't, then you get, penalized civilly, like with money or contempt, but you can't compel his testimony by giving him anything because he's got the max.
Right.
So he has all the cards. If he wants to talk and he wants to do it and really bring this case back to the forefront of the media again, he could again drop some breadcrumbs about, a co-conspirator or somebody that he did it with, or maybe he didn't do it at all and he dropped him off. I mean, he can play with the media at this point because he has only said like 3 words ever. It's like yes, no, and guilty. So
right. And why isn't he saying anything? Like, isn't that strange to you?
It is. It's really weird that he hasn't said anything, but I guess it works in his favor.
Yeah, do you think he's been threatened? I don't know, man. I
think he's fucking smart.
Yeah.
I mean, if I did this, I wouldn't say a fucking word, and then they don't have anything to put on. Like, let's say that he did go to trial. They have like 0 interviews, zero evidence of him lying or making up shit. They just have a couple of questions they asked him in Pennsylvania before he said he wanted a lawyer. I mean, he has nothing to prove that he's a liar.
Have you ever thought about how fast the extradition happened from Pennsylvania too? Like, waves is right.
He waived it.
Why?
Well, I couldn't tell you that. You'd have to ask his attorney, but
well, she's not going to probably say anything. I just felt like that went so quick.
No,
like,
it was a guy.
Yeah.
No, it was a guy. It wasn't Ann Taylor. It was the other guy.
Right. But I'm saying in general, like, yes, thank you for the correction. But I was going to say in general, there's no body cam or his interview doesn't exist. The extradition and the waiving the speedy trial was like, they just couldn't wait to get him back to start this entire narrative on him. The same day that Detective Gooch interviews Dylan Mortensen, Brian Kohberger's arrested. The same day that the news breaks about what happened on the night after Kopaka gets swatted, Kohberger gets pulled over twice in Indiana, and his dad brings up Kopaka on the way home. Like, there's just so many dates that align with Kohberger and other relatively major events in the Idaho 4 timeline.
What day did he waive his extradition, and what day did the complaint or the arrest for his warrant with the PCA get filed? Because he may have not, if he didn't know about, I guess, the lies or the DNA that was on the snap, and he thought like, they don't got shit on me, I would have waived it too. But
yeah, well, that's a good.
So he may have waived it thinking they don't have no DNA. I didn't leave anything behind. I was a good boy and did a really,
Yeah, I agree. He waived his right to fight extradition on January 3rd. In a Pennsylvania court. After doing so, he's transferred to Pennsylvania Idaho custody the next day, January 4th, to face the charges. He waived his right on August 23rd during a Latah County. So he was here's the timeline.
That was a mistake.
The next morning he's transported. I mean, I get that, but
no, I'm saying his speedy right to trial. He fucked up big time on that one, man.
It doesn't.
If he would have said, let's go, speedy trial, they wouldn't have been ready. They wouldn't have had the Tui dump documents from the federal government. None of their experts would have been ready. The state would have had nothing, and they'd have to dismiss the charges and re-indict later on.
Bro, they had all this time and they still had nothing. They fell back onto, we don't need to tell how he did it. We're not even going to try to. We can't trust a word he says. And you're going to just have to trust us. Like we have no connection. We can't put him in the house. It's a densely populated area. It's insane.
I mean, I guess he turned his phone off. I mean, it's smart. It's what I would do. I mean, that they tell you that. I had a college class. It was called Serial Murder, and it was for a doctor that actually set up a geographical profile. He lived in Canada and he dealt with different serial murders, but he actually would take the crime scenes and the victims at different points of interest and build a geographic profile of where the subject or where the person of interest would be, within a certain mile and radius. And really the way he said, the only way that you can get away with a crime like this is to do it to people you don't know at all. It has to be random people. Is the only way that you can get away with killing somebody, because that's it. Like, there can be no recon, no looking at him on social media. Like, you have to do it just random stranger, just lottery pick of the night. Bad luck for them, good luck for you.
It's sick to think about, but especially in today's digital surveillance world, you're probably spot on, and that class is probably exactly right. I mean, you can't have any ties to him. They'll figure it out.
Yep.
Well,
random stranger.
It's wild, man. And I appreciate the call, Detective Mallory. As always, great to chat with you. Leave my mom alone, and I hope you have a great night.
I'm sending her many a St. Patty's Day kisses below. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Have a good night, man. Cheers.
All right, later, man.
Peace. I love the characters in the Hive. But next up, and we got Rolo. I appreciate your patience, dude. Sorry about that.
No, sorry. What's cool? What's good? What's happening?
Oh, you know what, man? I gotta say, I uploaded for my quick cut. I tagged you in it in the description. A lot of people from the last time you were on the Hive were giving you mad props, as I would echo. And I am curious, not necessarily just your predictions, but I know that the last time that you got brought up, it was just kind of random. I mean, is there, in addition to that's a tongue twister. In addition to a prediction, right? Is there something?
I just gave you a little piece of the corn of the whole cob that they.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is there anything that you want to retouch on? So, you can kind of have the floor here for a second.
Well, first of all, yeah, I want to address the supposedly Brian being touched in prison. I know a lot of people don't know, but when you go to prison, you get paperwork, your 128G, and that's what you present. There's a section where it says arrest history, and then it has a section where it says sex, arsons, escapes, confidential files. If any one of those are checked, yes, then you have a problem.
Can you explain the confidential files? Does that mean like you're an informant, or
that it could be that, or you've been hit like somewhere, like or a snitch,
Okay.
So it won't say right there, but they could easily get it because the clerks at the office for the captain and all that, they're inmates themselves,
Yep.
So Brian isn't there for a sex crime, I mean, there's even people that are there for it's weird how the system works. There's also statutory rape with consent and without consent. They you could be there for having a kid with a 15-year-old, and if she says that it was with consent, then I mean, the state, they sometimes they keep the charges on you, and you take a deal, you go for 2 years, and you're there for that. Those people walk mainline, as long as like, I mean, it's just with consent. Yeah, they're gonna go on the first mission, they're batters up right away, that's it. And There's even some that have kids with like 12-year-olds, and they'd be like, oh no, she can't give consent, she's not old enough. But if that same 12-year-old commits a crime, she'll be tried as an adult.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I'm sure with the paperwork too, like the people that understand it, right? There's probably like unwritten rules that we would never probably hear about unless somebody tells us. And so when it comes to, like, for example, Koberger, Bill Thompson says there was no, this was not a sexually motivated
Mm-hmm.
crime. But then the parents
Mm-hmm.
are saying, he's a pedophile, and that they're kind of referencing like essentially him getting raped in prison with big
Yeah,
D's.
they're trying to label them like that, the fairy tales, like probably because Steve G's brother is probably PC'd up, that's probably why they think like PC, And
I don't
another
mean to
thing,
be a total like PC. What does that mean?
protective custody.
Okay, thank you.
And then now it's called SNY because before they were called PC yards, now they're called SNY, special needs yards. I mean,
Yep.
and yeah, like when they say that, oh, he's the inmates are not gonna be too welcoming because he killed young ladies. Sorry, but 90% of people in there are there for killing young ladies and young boys. Like whether when they were younger themselves too, gang banging or whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
But mostly everybody's in there for killing young people, So,
Well,
I mean, I just laugh at all that.
So when let me ask you this. I don't know if you were in the stream last night, but I had showed Steve G's comment that he left under a YouTube video saying, like, rumor is once he hits Gen Pop, if you want to save your killer, like, do it before he hits
Mhm.
Gen Pop because
Yeah,
he's
I saw that. Yeah,
dead. Like,
I was laughing at it. I was gonna send you my paperwork because that day that I was on the stream on the what was it, Friday or something, Thursday?
yeah, I think it was Thursday, Friday. Yeah.
Okay, I started looking for some toys that I had, like from before, and I found my old letters, because I remember my mom was gonna throw them away like a few years ago, and I told her, no, save them, because this is proof, like I might need it one day, because I have letters that I used to send her from the shoe and all that. And then I found my paperwork like the first time I went to the shoe and the second time, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna send this to Birdie, And
Yeah,
also,
you
I'm gonna send
should.
it to you, just so you could see that, that I was there, like when I
Yeah.
said I was, in 2000,
Please
But
do.
yeah, I mean, but other than that, look, I think Brian's DNA, it was either obtained from that same trash pool, because even Steve G says the DNA was a gift from the FBI.
Right.
Who did that? And it's weird because supposedly they have the controlled collection, right? But at 2 in the morning or 12 at night, like that's weird, But okay. Another thing, in the Molly the DUI thing, when they took her to the hospital for the blood withdrawal.
Yep.
When they're out right before they took her to the hospital, they were outside, right? When the boyfriend pulls up, whatever, for the car.
Yep.
And then some other patrol units pull up. On one of those patrol units, it's identical to the girl on BK Norton. That BK Norton is the one that Brian Kohlberger had the issues with at school. That she's the one that tried to insert him into that home invasion where the girl kicked the guy with the knife.
Yep.
And the officer asked her, "You think it's a prank or whatever?" Like we thought it was. By any chance, did you guys are you guys in sororities or did you guys leave? They left sororities, right? Did you guys leave it? And it's weird how he asked her, "Did you guys leave in bad terms?"
Right.
Like, damn, that was weird, because he asked them, "Did you guys leave in bad terms from sorority?" Maybe he was then trying to stab you guys, You get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, but at the same time, this is okay. When these officers pull up, that BK Norton girl, I don't know if it was her or the other officer had a ride along, and it's Jack Showalter.
That's crazy.
And you know what's the crazy part? This is like 30 minutes before they kicked in Brian Kohlberger's front door.
Oh my God. So on December 30th, Jack Showalter's doing a ride along with that girl. Dylan Mortensen's getting interviewed by Detective Gooch. What else happened on December 30th? I mean, I'm just curious because that seems to be a big day.
You pull up my my videos, like not my last one, the one before. I think is minute 56 or something.
Okay.
And you could that's when it shows her right there pulling up to the scene. And just play it real quick, like watch the little interaction.
So the
Watch
second
what she
last
says.
video.
Yeah, I believe it's minute 56.
Okay, I got it right here. 1 second. Minute 56. Let me get this to load. Wow, I clicked right on 56. That's crazy. All right, I'll go to 55:10.
Do you know who it was?
Do you know anyone last name it?
I don't know
And Rolo, I'm just going to let this play for a second, all right?
Okay.
him personally, but I've heard the name.
What have you heard?
Well, I heard recently that, I forget who said it, but someone said that their boyfriend or something said that they never want to get in a fight with him because he has like anger issues, kind of, and is known for like beating up people.
But that came third, fourth party, basically.
Yeah.
But you've never seen. Would you even recognize him if you saw him on the street?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you probably have no idea if he's ever been in your house or anything like that.
Mm-mm. I don't think I've never heard anyone say anything about him, but
When they ask certain questions, it's for a certain reason, because as they're asking that, are you sure he hasn't been in the house? Is because they found his DNA in the house. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the same DNA that they then try to explain that, it was in blood, this and that. Yeah. But, you know what I'm saying? I wonder how they got Brian's DNA.
I didn't say you're going to jail, Molly. Stepped up on that. One in custody, DUI.
We're not doing it?
No, we are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then why are you sorry?
Well, just it's a long ways. But I don't know.
Shit just got hired by local.
Do I do? I'm trying to think. Blood? No citation. No. So no first appearance Monday. Just forward later. Okay.
Just wait till you get your blood.
Do you have vials? Who has some vials? Do you have some? Okay. I need your vials.
Stop being so easy.
Well, it's a mess because the whole. Well, I'll talk to you about it later, but it's a mess.
So, like,
You're trying to get Ruby's from, was it? From the Regency?
The white one?
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
that guy?
Yeah.
message.
Shut your bitch ass up.
Okay. When you were watching the grub truck video, did you see anyone else that was standing behind Kayla or Maddie while they were getting their food that you recognized?
I thought I recognized someone. I'd need to see the video again.
Yeah, and I don't have it up with me. It's
I can.
booked in as evidence.
A stupid little fucking tone that they speak with, like Dylan when she called 911. Oh my God. I thought I recognized someone. Bitch, you recognize a motherfucking weenie ass fool right there. You know what I mean? Come on. Fucking punks, like. You could cut it right there. But that's him. That's him right there,
Yeah.
They're asking her about him, the guy that she's dating, and she's like, I don't know,
That's so wild, dude. So, okay, you saw
that comparison I did with the Showalter,
right?
That's from that video from the body cam,
dude. That DUI body cam is nuts too. If you watch the whole thing,
and look at the time, the timestamp. You add the difference of the East Coast, whatever. That's like minutes before his door got kicked in.
Yeah, because his door got kicked in at what time?
Like 2:30, 3:33, something, 4.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. What time did Koberger's house get raided in Pennsylvania? Like, let's see if they have the exact.
What are the odds of BK Norton and Jack Showalter being together right before his door got kicked in? Like that's And you saw how the other officer, when they were talking about, he's like, shh, don't, shh, just,
Yeah. Well, and so it says that at 1:45 Eastern time is when the Penn State Police SWAT team breached the front door.
Okay, so that's when it was already happening. It had already happened right there, because that was like 12:30, ain't it?
Yeah, it would already happen. Right. It's the same night. It's within a couple hours. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You notice when they read Bethany's letter when it was Emily Alant, Hunter Johnson's girlfriend.
Yep.
You notice when Bethany says that she was still scared that the blinds were open, that she that at her parents' house that they kept the blinds closed because like and she would sleep with them in the room for like a year. Why would
Yeah.
she be scared if the supposedly perpetrator of the crime was already in custody?
It's a question that I've had myself as well. Same thing with people not talking. If this is a lone wolf actor, talk. What happened? Like they're dragging out not telling the truth because clearly what we've been told is not the truth. That is the simplest answer that I don't know how you can't see it at this point. The reason why everything's redacted and it's being slowly dripped out and why we still are looking into this case is because what they told us happened didn't happen at the end of the day.
Because maybe her boyfriend, threatened her. You say something, I'll kill your brother and your parents and you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so, dude, like when you, man, see, it's so interesting. Like when people start getting threats like that, it's always blown my mind though, when I'm like, so who are they connected to that they could make it happen then? Because then those people would have to be brought up to speed on that too, right? That the threat's in place or no?
You remember Swamp Rose, the channel?
Say it again.
You remember Swamp Rose, the channel? Kiki, some girl.
Maybe
it was a channel that she doesn't make content no more, but she used to play my videos sometimes.
Okay.
And one day I put Brian Kohlberger's information so people could write to him, right? So there's a YouTuber that started writing to him and communicating with him, and she even got approved by Antater, all that. She was a lawyer from another state, and she had
I
a
do
channel.
remember this. I do remember this. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the odds that her house got burned down, like towards the end? Like when right before Brian took the deal, her house was burned down. She was being threatened. That weekend when he took the deal was the weekend that the guy with the forensics, the True Crime Forensics channel, he did a video about the one of the cars being the undercover car. I mean,
wow.
And that same weekend, and that's when the Molly the video came out that same weekend. Also, that one that you just played, that came out that same weekend. And then when he showed up to court, he shows up with a fresh cut. Like, in my opinion, he went to get a haircut. And when he went to get a haircut, it was their time to have, a long time with him, and they probably threatened him.
Dude.
Because I heard there's a rumor that supposedly there was videos of somebody being tied up and the shotgun being inserted through the private part and the head being blown off, And that video was sent to I guess his family or something. If he didn't take the deal.
Have you ever met anybody that's happened to personally?
Yeah. I mean, okay, I'll tell you a story.
Okay.
It was funny how, I'll start with how we moved to the valley. We used to live in Southgate. One day our neighbor caught some guy coming in through our window. He was halfway in, and the neighbor pulled him out and started bombing on him. Years later, my mom bumped into one of the lady that used to babysit us. Her daughter was my sister's age, and the son was my age. Years later, my mom bumped into the daughter, Sophia, at the bus coming from the Northridge Mall. Hey, I remember this and that. My mom even got off the bus and went to their house,
Wow.
And the dad told her, hey, remember that guy that was that they caught breaking into your window? Because after that's when we moved to the valley because my parents didn't live together. Well, it turns out it was Richard Ramirez.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That guy told her, yeah, that after that happened, the guy, and then the guy that your neighbor, he came and told us, hey, that guy that I pulled out from the window and I beat up, that was Richard Ramirez, But we didn't live there no more, so we found this out years after that. So, okay. So that's the reason why we moved over here, right? Okay, so once I started going to junior high over here on my 8th grade, I started my 3rd junior high that year, and I had a friend. He was cool, you know. All of a sudden, he disappeared from school. I remember it was at the time of the walkouts because of the Rodney King thing. Then I found out that for his birthday, he asked his parents for a video camera, and he had it. He was trying it out. He was in a 2nd floor apartment. He's recording out of the window. What does he catch? The Rodney King beating, bro.
Like the infamous video?
Yeah, my friend recorded it.
That actual angle of it, the one that everybody's
The
seen.
video, I love that bunk video camera with the videotape. Yeah, he's the one that recorded it. It was a kid. It was him.
I have
And once
chills,
the shit hit the fan, once the shit hit the fan, they were threatening him. So they left to Mexico. They still ain't been back since that day.
What?
They were, yeah. And
Well,
those
that would
same
be the
patrol,
police department threatening him?
that's Foothill Police Department. That's a patrol. That's a division that patrols where I live. The ones that planted a gun on me, you know.
Wow. Holy shit, dude. That's crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
And that's how I
can't
ended up
believe-
over there with Charles Manson and all that, you know.
I remember you saying that too, and I'm just like, it's shocking, dude, just how many just like famously notorious
Because
like,
I got
psychotic killers you've been around.
Yeah, they planted a gun on me, and that gun has supposedly been involved in a drive-by shooting, and that's how I got, you know, like those charges. And I just took a deal, a 4-year deal, you know, because they were like 90 to life and this and that and all that. What the fuck, you know? So I said, fuck it, you know, I'll take 4. I always want to know what prison is like, anyways, you know. So that's how I ended up over there, bro.
Dude, what do you think about? So, are you a believer of that? The real killer of the Idaho 4 is out there and alive, or do you think that the killers are dead?
They're alive. They're alive. They're one was the last person that they were seen alive with, you know, and one was the other person that the girl was dating.
So crazy.
And remember, even in the interview with Dylan, she says that Kai and Ethan didn't get along because Kai was jealous of Ethan having a relationship with Xana, and they had issues. She said it, you know.
Can you touch on, for example, like the witness protection program? Like, have you ever met anybody that got offered WITSEC but was in prison or turned it down because they didn't want to move? Or have you ever?
I was gonna tell you. I was thinking the other day. I want to recommend someone for you to have on your show, and he's the one, because I can't touch deep into that because I'm still active, you know. But
Okay.
this is a guy that was like really active. He was like a made guy and all that, and he only fell out because when you know they have power struggles in between them, and when one falls and like the people that they raise their hand for, they usually try to go against them too because they know that they're probably going to want some kind of revenge, you know. And
Dude,
this guy has a channel. This guy has a channel, and he's like, if you want to, like, you know, this guy was in WITSEC and all that, you know, like he finished doing his time in a private prison where he would go like speak for the FBI and all that, and like they'll have like seminars, and they'll fly him and all that, like as an inmate, you know.
Dude, we got to get this guy on. Who is it? Or if you want to just send me the channel.
Yeah. I'll send you the info. Yeah, like,
all right, Birdie's Hive Mind at gmail.com.
All right, cool.
All
right,
but dude, that would be sick, and I would really appreciate that, man. And like, again, I know you and we've chatted the last couple of nights. I'm bumping up on time here at 2 hours, so I'm going to put you backstage, but I appreciate you calling in, man. It's always great chatting with you.
Yeah. I'll send you that info right now. I'm gonna look it up, right?
All right.
Birdie's
Hive
Mind at Gmail?
Birdie's Hive. Yep. Birdie's Hive Mind at gmail.com.
All right, cool.
All right. Cheers, brother. Thank you.
All right.
Dude, it's so cool. Like I absolutely love this community. The amount of people, the amount of stories that I've been emailed, or just the stuff that people have been around in the Hive is incredible. And if anybody has a story, if anybody has a story, or if anybody has something that they feel like wants to get out there, again, I know it's when I say it's not just the Hive, but it's right. It's the start to getting the word out there. Who knows who will see this and pick up? So if you're somebody that has a crazy story, or if there's a case or something, like reach out to birdieshivemind@gmail.com. And if you got, the want to come up on stream and do that, I would love to, even if it's a pre-recorded one over the weekend. Now that I'm not streaming on the weekends, I have time to pre-record. And so, real quick though, before you guys bounce, guys, Thursday is going to be epic. Okay. We have a crime scene expert that I have sent him, which I got to resend him the Google Drive for all of the photos. But he's got the reports, he's got the documents. I have some statistics on what he's done. He has investigated over 3,600 cases, 300 plus homicides, 350 plus suicides, and over 500 plus traffic accidents. He is the real deal. And I can tell you that Thursday is going to be one for the books. So make sure you guys have your alerts turned on. Make sure you hit subscribe, hit like. Let's try to get to 1,000 likes. We're only at 650. Just swipe down on the chat before you head out and tap like. I will be back on tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Central. Have a great rest of your St. Patrick's Day, and I will see you then. Cheers, everybody.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life.